All right, let's jump right into a question that has been at the heart of theological debate for, well, centuries. We're going to break down one really influential perspective on this, and that's the relationship between God the Father and his Son Jesus.
So, here's the big question, straight up. Are God the Father and Jesus the exact same person? It sounds kind of simple, right? But the answer has some huge implications. So let's dig in and see what the evidence says.
Okay, so the core argument we're looking at today is really clear and direct. It says the Bible presents the Father and the Son as two distinct beings. And we're not just talking different roles, but separate individuals. So, what's the evidence for this?
To build this case, we're going to look at several key moments pulled straight from Scripture. These are the places where the relationship between the Father and the Son is really put on display.
First up, we've got the baptism of Jesus. Just picture this scene for a second. A voice from heaven, which is identified as God the Father, speaks about Jesus, saying, "This is my beloved Son." It's an incredible moment of one being identifying and, affirming another.
Now, this one is fascinating. We see a real distinction in what they know. Jesus himself says there's information that only the Father has, information that he, the Son, doesn't even know. So you got to ask, if they were the exact same being, how could one part of them hold a secret from the other?
And this next point really drives it home with some physical imagery. Scripture describes Jesus taking this place of honor right next to the Father. And the logic here is pretty straightforward, right? You can't sit next to yourself. It doesn't work. This points pretty strongly to two separate entities.
Okay, so those examples from Scripture definitely raise some big logical questions. So let's dive into some of the puzzles that pop up when you start thinking about this.
This is a classic one. All through the Gospels, we see Jesus praying to the Father. He calls out to him. If they're the same person, who is he talking to?
And from this perspective, the answer is just simple. He wouldn't. It wouldn't make any sense. The very act of praying is presented as definitive proof that you have two distinct beings communicating with each other. This brings us to another really critical point, the crucifixion. We know Jesus died on the cross, but a core belief is that God is immortal. He cannot die. So how do you make those two things work if Jesus and God the Father are the same being? And this is where the difference in their natures is absolutely key. Jesus, in his human form, his flesh, died. But the Father, who is spirit, cannot die. This fundamental difference is another cornerstone in the argument for two distinct beings. So, if they aren't the same person, then what is their relationship? This is where we shift from just talking about separation to understanding the nuance of their incredible connection and unity. Which of course leads to this massive question. If Jesus isn't God the Father, is he still God? Is he still divine? Let's see how the source material breaks this down. And the answer is basically a yes, but. Jesus is described as divine. He is from God, he's like God, he's the perfect image of God. He has that divine nature for sure. But, and this is the key distinction, he is not the Father himself. And to top it all off, the sources point to Jesus' own words. He himself makes a clear distinction when he says, "The Father is greater than I." That statement directly supports this whole idea of two separate, though deeply connected beings.
So let's pull all these threads together. After looking at the biblical examples and the logical questions, what's the one big idea we should really walk away with?
And here it is, just summarized beautifully. Jesus is the Son of God. He is not God the Father. They are not the same being. The relationship is one of perfect unity in purpose, in will, in love, but they are not identical. That phrase, perfectly united but not identical, that really captures the essence of this whole thing.
So we're left with this really powerful image, the Father and the Son as two distinct beings, perfectly united in purpose, rather than as just a single entity. As all this material has laid out, this distinction is seen as absolutely crucial. And so the final question to leave you with is, how does seeing it this way change the story for you? Definitely something